Hello everyone, I want to introduce you to this Toon shader created for Unreal project. It consists of several components, each way up from the material blueprint. I would like to show you about its development process, how I came up with this Toon shader, and some necessary steps it takes to wear up these nodes in the Unreal blueprint. There have been a couple of good Toon shaders being built for stylized animation available on YouTube channels. Even though they have all the necessary functionality, they don't satisfy some of my needs. When I need to create one that fulfills my expectation for a particular graphic novel art style. I have experimented with some other Toon shader, and it still feels too digital to me, not the artistic style I desired. So I built my own Toon shader, adding some extra steps to create specific stylized art style. The most common way to build a Toon shader would be starting with a light map, which basically shows the brightness as a grayscale image. Using this as an input, we could easily assign a different color to each level. While posterization is an effective method, it overgeneralizes the features of a 2D painting. If you look at the pencil sketch, we could see it has several components. The reflection, influenced by bouncing light from the environment and the terminator, the boundary between light and shadow. Depending on artistic choices, some artists might add more saturation or change the thickness of the line to create a more vibrant atmosphere. I will briefly explain how I set up these nodes. For the first part of the blueprint, I calculated the reflected light using simple math equation, rendered color divided by the diffuse color. Then, having obtained the light map, I could use threshold to divide the value to three parts according to the grayscale: the light, the dark, and the boundary in between. We will extract each part separately and use it as the basis where we could change its color or add gradients onto it. So I play a little trick to customize the ramping of the gradient in the shadow region. By setting up a midpoint, the gradient ramp is divided into two, and by adjusting the position of the midpoint, we'll be able to adjust how steep this gradient translates. And through this, we could create either a gradient reflected light or a reflected light with abrupt transition in the shadow region. Besides, when we add the stylized texture to a couple of objects at the same time, we need to consider how their inherent color affected the lighting. If you look at the painting techniques, usually we paint the lit up side of the object with more detail. We will be able to see a more vibrant color palette for the part of the object under the light, compared to their shadowed counterpart. To repeat these details, we will be using multiplication node to overlay the inherent color of the object with the light color, so that we'll be able to see the transition of the tone within the details. Done with the coloring, I explored the functionality every Toon shader should have, the border. For edge detection, we'll be using convolutional filters, the same filter in a convolutional neural network, to extract different features of the edge. The filters that we'll be comparing against including three types of edge extraction filter: Canny filter, Laplacian filter, and also Sobel X and Y. These filters are all matrices with different size and values. For the kernel size, we'll be using an input parameter x, which determines how much of the features should be captured through each step forward of the convolutional kernel. To simplify, the kernel size captures different levels of details, therefore determining the line thickness for the border. As we adjust the filter type and size, the edge also shows different level of precision in capturing the details. Now we have a gradient shadow region, a terminator, a light region overlaid with original color, and finally the border. Everything that a proper Toon shader might ever require. In the last step, we overlay each part with the desired color, which is controlled by the user-defined scalar parameter. As a result, we could achieve a variety of combinatorial effects, including a comic style with flat shading and sharp border. and also a more illustrative style, with a saturated interval between the light and shadow region. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this video.